All right, we are back, y'all. Thank you guys so much for watching our NFL divisional round and championship round predictions there. Definitely a whole lot of stuff going on this weekend. So let us know what you guys think about all of that. And we're back now to all the NBA things and beyond that are going on across the rest of the sports world. It's definitely a whole lot to discuss. So again, follow us on IG and TikTok at section.300 and Twitter at section300 sports to be a part of the conversation. Like, review, subscribe, all of that for us online, our podcast streaming services, and on YouTube here as well, so we can stay in touch with you guys. And again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And we're back with Matt and Alec again to talk about everything going on. And Alec, me and you are the Lakers guys, so we'll go first, and we'll go Matt Celtics later. Alec, AD finally is back in the building. We got a nice win against the Nets last night. Does that save you any stress that you've been feeling prior to him being back on the court? Or are you still feeling the way about this Lakers squad right now?
Yeah, no, I mean, this Lakers team looked a little bit like energized to have AD back like in that Nets game, which was good to see because a lot of games it just feels like they're kind of going through the motions, not focused or interested in playing defense.
Right.
So it was great to get him from that standpoint, from an energy boost standpoint, as well as playing both sides of the ball because when he's on and engaged, he's one of, if not the best defender in basketball. So it's a needed element to this team that's been missing for over a month. And I think it'll definitely give us a boost, but this team still needs reinforcements like at the wing position. And just more players that are willing and eager to play defense and scrap, like more role players.
So the season's not saved. I saw a bunch of tweets last night. We're back, and Lakers championship run, here we come. It's not that yet. We still got work to do.
They were always a playoff team in my eyes. Like, of course, it's just a matter of like whether they'll be a contender or not. Right now, they're still not a contender. But AD like solidifies that like they'll have a playoff spot. I don't know where they'll land. Like right now, looking at the standings, it looks like they can probably only get as high as 5 right now. With the Mavericks being like 3 games ahead of them at 5. So yeah, I think much needed boost to get him back, but we need a deadline move because this team, relying on Carmelo Anthony like to play like crunch time minutes defensively has killed us, and AD solved some of that because we had Melo playing at the 5, which was just horrendous. But I think we do need a couple more wings, like a Stanley Johnson, who we did sign for a 2-year deal.
Right, I saw that. And before we actually go on, we've been talking about it so much that I kind of mixed it up in what we talked about on here and what we didn't already. I want to take a step back, and there's actually a bigger thing we have to address with our Lakers first and beyond, of course. And that's what today is, January 26th. Today is the 2-year anniversary of Kobe and Gianna and all, I believe it was 7 of those that were lost in the helicopter crash a couple years, 2 years ago now. And just people have been, as we've been doing for 2 years now, continue to pour out our love for all those that were involved, and just want to continue to do that. I got my shirt showing love to Gigi today. You got yours on. No, Matt, you're a Celtic guy, but I know everybody can still at least in some way.
Everybody felt that loss, though.
Absolutely, loss and can appreciate the greatness that Kobe was. So just before we go back to Laker stuff today, I want to make sure we on here remember to just show our love for him. And real quick, it's gonna be funny asking this with both sides now. I just want to go down for all of us. This is our favorite moment from Kobe that he gave us. Alec, you have a favorite Kobe moment you want to share?
Favorite?
Yeah,
I mean, that's tough. I mean,
one that comes to mind immediately.
There's so many. I think one of them probably is like that elbow like jumper buzzer beater against the Suns in the playoffs. Yeah. That moment where he like pulls the jersey like over his heart, that kind of thing. And then probably that picture that I have from like the NBA Finals when they won in 2010. Sorry, Matt.
That was gonna be mine.
When they beat the Celtics in 7.
I have a weight at least.
He's on top of the score. scoreboard, whatever.
That's an iconic one.
Yeah, with the confetti falling down, all that. Yeah, so probably those two stick out right now, but there's plenty.
Yeah, the 81-point game, as everybody talks about, that definitely was a moment. There's few regular season games that you look back on and can remember where you were at for that game. I remember sitting in front of the TV, like 81 points, like as a kid, like just in awe. So definitely that game still holds. And then as I shared, after his passing, just the 60 points, his final game, and the jokes that my friends share about me shedding a tear while I was watching the game, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that moment definitely still sits with me a lot, and I think about on that. So definitely always on our minds, and definitely still miss him heavily. And just continue to show love to him and his family and those that were lost. So Matt, on the opposite end, you have a memory still as well.
Like him ripping your heart out.
In terms of like I didn't get to watch him live that much. Growing up on the East Coast, like there was no chance. My parents were not letting me stay up for to watch a Lakers game. What's wrong with you? But like that 81-point game, like I still remember. I honestly want to say it was like. I was gonna try to be like, I think Kenny Mayne was on SportsCenter. Like, I swear, I remember it that much. But like watching it the next morning, like I just remember watching SportsCenter. Might have been like after school or whatever, and it was like every 20 minutes they were showing the highlights from that game. And normally it would be the kind of thing where I'd like yell at them and be like, talk about Tom Brady, like what's going on. But it was just like just fixated, and like that's at a point like I forget if he was 8. Was he 8 or 24 when he did?
He's 8.
He was 8. So like pretty early in his career, like I still would have been like full Kobe hatred mode, but like still just like watching those highlights, it just was like transfixing. But then in terms of like a personal Kobe moment, I did get to see his last game in Boston at the Garden. That one was really cool. I remember, I think it was probably in college, like, maybe shortly after we met, Alec. And I remember sending you some pictures, and I was like, who's this little 8-year-old in a Kobe number 8 jersey? Like, fuck out of here. You don't remember him. You weren't alive when he wore that number. Like, what are you doing? But like, with some time to think about that, like it just shows the impact that he made. Like that was a little kid in Boston still rocking the Kobe number 8 jersey. Like, and I mean, now we have Jason Tatum, who like will shout out Kobe any chance he can get.
Future Laker Jason Tatum.
He'll post that picture with the Lakers logo, so perfectly placed in the background. He'll post all those, and I'll never hear the end of it. But like, I mean, but that just shows the impact that he made. And then like, coming from my perspective as a Celtics fan, like, yeah, I was a Kobe hater. Like, had a lot of stuff, had a lot of negative feelings for him. Thanks for 2010. But like, still like, with some perspective, it's like he was basically the perfect like basketball like villain, and like I mean that in a good way. Like he was a villain, and I hated him so much because of how good he was. Like like it was nothing like against him like personally, but like everything he did on a basketball court. Like grow up in a Boston household, so of course like as I'm learning to watch basketball, my dad's like fucking hate the Lakers. Like Shaq and Kobe like talking all this shit about them. So like I parrot that, but like once you get older, get some perspective, like. Just the perfect basketball villain, like
one of those getting MVP chance on the road type of
exactly. Yeah. He probably even got him in Boston.
Yeah, you're a perfect villain, but my hero there, definitely one that I looked up to, and those that were fans of his really carried forward his Mamba mentality and things to this day. To your point about 2010, I think 2010, if I remember this right, 13. Middle school, I believe that was. I think after that run, when we finally won, I don't know what it was. I saw a picture somewhere or something, but I think for the parade, I had spray painted my hair purple on one side, yellow on the other side.
Of course, I was cool. Started at a young age with the hair.
I was always doing whatever with my hair just from the beginning, and when we won, I was happy as happy could be, especially being the Celtics. So I went all out for that, and definitely showed love there. So always been a diehard Kobe fan, and so still always hold him dearly. So I just wanted to continue to commemorate him and GG and all those that were lost in that crash there. So again, just rest in peace to all of them. And
for sure.
As we have said, continue with that Mamba mentality and carrying things forward. We're making our pushes now in current day, and guys are all doing their thing and playing hard. And this Lakers team, going back to where we started, Lakers team is playing hard again. At least for one night, it seemed like they were back and trying to get rolling. I guess to your point about AD, when he wants, I don't know if it's a want, but actually, yeah, I guess I'll see that when he wants to be, he's up there with the best of the best.
Right.
When there's moments where it seems like he checks out, those moments, those moments can rub off on the whole team, and all the play can drop, and we've seen that as well. So hopefully he can keep that energy that he kind of showed. I think he only had 8 points in this first game, but still his presence was felt, and he can continue to provide that. And that'll go a long way for this squad, and I hope we continue to build upon that going forward. So I know you kind of mentioned it on what we signed Stanley Johnson long term, and there still might be moves to be made. Is there anyone specifically you want to see us bring in before the trade deadline, or is it just guys need to go?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want Jeremy Grant, but that feels like a pipe dream at this point, especially what's been expressed about like his wishes, wanting to be more dominant, like as far as getting shots and that kind of thing. And that's not really going to happen with LeBron AD getting most of the shots.
I respect that, to be honest.
So that's probably not viable. Maybe one of the Pacers players or a couple of the Pacers players, because it talked about wings, like guys that maybe aren't as flashy. I've heard Lakers pods talk about like Torrey Craig as far as a wing player.
That would be good.
I like Torrey.
People have floated like Miles Turner. I don't necessarily love that if we're going with AD at the 5, because that makes us even bigger.
Before we get too far away from it, you were at that Pacers game a couple. What was that, last week?
Right. Yeah.
We did see in person. That was right before AD got back. What did you think of that performance?
Yeah. That one. I mean, which different team, obviously, because there's no AD. But it was a fun. I think I told both of you guys it was a fun game. Like there was a lot of exciting plays. I think Lakers were up by like nearly 20 at one point.
We had a nice lead, and then Karras turned into Jesus.
Yeah, because I was saying,
who does that?
You're like, are we? But yeah, they ended up blowing the lead in the fourth quarter, and it was really the defense, like just the lack of attention to detail and sometimes effort, and the rotations from Frank Vogel were a little suspect, which people have complained about all season. Like he's kind of dug his own grave in that way. Like he hasn't had the greatest roster construction, but he hasn't quite maximized the roster with it as well too. So it was just like glaring how bad the defense was in the second half. Like I said, I talked about like with Melo at the 5. So hopefully that's completely alleviated with AD being back. We don't get any more Melo at the 5 type lineups. That was the game where Russ got benched in the 4th, I believe. And really, like he kind of got like, well, he always gets scapegoated in the media, but or on Twitter, that kind of thing.
We'll get to that.
But it really wasn't like on Russ. Like that was a game where he like shot well from the perimeter. Like he hit like 4 3s. I was shocked. Like
everybody was.
He hit like 4 3s that game. Like I think he struggled converting at the rim, but he wasn't like a minus on the defensive end. Like it was Melo and Reeves had a couple missteps and that kind of thing. Him getting benched and then sticking with Melo at the 5 made no sense, because it was like you bench Russ, okay, but then you leave Melo out there to guard the bonus. So like we're gonna get cooked. But yeah, it kind of just highlighted like our glaring issues like defensively in my eyes from watching that live. But I'm hoping that AD fixes a lot of those issues, and then we can make a trade for a competent wing on the defensive end. Yeah.
Last thing, and I'll pass it to Matt. After that Pacers game, it seemed like that was the breaking point. Every Lakers tweet, every podcast, every Spaces said
3,000 people in the Spaces.
We're going off, saying that's the end of Russ. That's the end of Frank Vogel. Get him out of here, and then let's rebuild. Now seeing that was very overblown. While it was overblown, do you still think that Frank Vogel should be relieved from head coach here, or that he still is the guy we should roll with going forward?
I think I'm still of the opinion that he was kind of getting scapegoated a little bit. Like while I do like acknowledge that his rotation sometimes been questionable, like I still don't love starting Avery Bradley
That shouldn't be happening in 2022. That should not be happening.
Yeah, you know better than us.
While he has actually been pretty good the last 2 games or so, he shouldn't be starting like on this team.
Right.
And I'm just like, AD, I think, solves problems on the court, but also just like in the coach's room. It's like rotationally not having to play those types of guys, like not having to play Ariza as much. Because Ariza was starting and looking kind of cooked as well. But yeah, I don't think a guy that's, I guess, a year and a half removed from being the head coach of a championship, I feel like you got to respect him a little bit more to at least let him play out this season with all 3 of the stars together. Like, I think they've played maybe 10 games with the big 3 together.
Right.
And I don't think it would have been fair to get rid of him at that point. And I think that's partially why they didn't get rid of him at that point, because everyone thought it was inevitable that he's going to be gone. But AD had been out like over a month. And like we saw what this team was like last year without AD or without Braun. Like they looked like a G League team at points. So like,
I mean, it's after those guys,
they were.
It's honestly like not impressive, but like good that like we were able to stay as a 500 basketball team, like without AD. And part of that is having Russ. Like people don't realize that Russ does make an impact.
Russell Westbrook?
That's possible.
Yeah, I think I'm still in the Frank Vogel like support wagon, even though it may be a small group of us at this point.
Just me and you at this point.
I'm with you. Frank Vogel clown car.
But yeah, I'm with you in that. And hopefully he can stick around and continue to push these guys forward into the playoffs. Because I hope we make a nice run. So yeah, we shall see. Matt, from your eyes, what do you think of the Lakers squads? You've seen some of us things go down this season.
Yeah, the one thing I'd want to add is I think it was after that Pacers game. Like it was the one where Russ really got scapegoated and they benched him. I remember I read an ESPN article that was like the Lakers coaching staff like cited this one defensive possession where Russ kind of let LeVert, I think it was go right. Yeah, that he let LeVert go right, and they were like, our entire game plan was don't let him go right, force him left. But then I remember someone found a clip of Indiana's head coach talking and was like, oh, Karras loves to drive left. Okay, so we're scapegoating Russ, right? And we're saying he didn't listen to the coaching assignment, you know? Right. But apparently the coaching assignment wasn't all that. Like, it just entirely felt...
most pro guys, minus Julius, can use both hands.
Right. No, and that's completely...
Julius has to go straight for no reason.
Oh man, Julius got to go back till he's 5 and work on that. To me, it just felt like that whole article and like specifically citing one play with Russ, it felt like way over the top scapegoating, like even than he normally gets. Because like when you have that coach's clip from Indiana saying like Karras likes to go to his left, like so if that really was the assignment. Like maybe Russ got burned to his left a couple times and like that's why he started forcing him right, you know, like you can have all of these sort of like what if scenarios, but LeVert is still LeVert. Like the Celtics were on when he was in Brooklyn, I think he dropped 50 on the Celtics like twice. Like he's one of those players that can just randomly go off. Like he has that in him. So you know it's not like you can't really kick yourself after a loss like that, but I think that article and just like the scapegoating of Russ down to that specific play is just like everyone's just trying to put the blame on someone else because, you know, like those spaces proved after that loss, everyone felt like the house was burning. And like, no, you're just without your all NBA center.
And people love the drama too.
Exactly.
The game right after that, I think the Pacers played a back-to-back and they played the Warriors and beat the Warriors in OT without LeVert.
They set everybody.
They're just cooking. Like Lance Stevenson's back. I don't know. He's got that magic.
Yeah. So as Alec, as you're saying, a lot of the reaction is overblown. That's what comes with the Lakers. It is what it is. But I just hope they continue to hold fort there and stay true to what they know is right, and not make any too dramatic of moves based on what we're seeing from the outside. So I do think that this squad still has a high ceiling, and we shall see how things continue to play out. To the point I asked you about any trades, kind of we were talking about off air. It's like, yes, I could see us making a trade, but like I don't know who I'd want to send out in order to get somebody back. Like I think a lot of guys now with AD there now fall back into the roles that we hoped they would be when we originally signed them and put everything together. So I think this roster still can work out as we wanted to. It just depends on guys actually playing to the level that we believe that they can, rather than the woes we've seen from while it has the overreaction has been there. Russ has had some plunders there.
Absolutely.
So if he plays back up to the level we know he play at, and others elevate their play as we know that they can, we can definitely get back into contention, serious contention. So I'm keeping some faith there. So
I'll be happy if I never have to see Russ like shoot off the top of the backboard again.
Gotta fix that. Beyond the reaction, whatever they may say, that no matter how you want to look at it, it got to be fixed. So hopefully he does that.
And the other thing too with the Lakers, like when you're trying to piece it together, like you just want wing defenders. Like that could easily, you may not even have to give anything up. Like when the buyout market comes around, like there may be that piece or two. And like the Lakers, everyone always wants to play with LeBron. Like I don't think, hopefully it's not as hard to find that wing defender if you can't trade, like Kendrick Nunn for Torrey Craig. Like if that can't work, then hopefully the buyout market does. Because I mean, it's been a bad season for the Lakers, but like you guys have said, they're like a couple pieces away from being what they've been.
Exactly. So. Like G said, I think they're still a contender. Like I'll still die on this hill that healthy LeBron and AD last year is not losing to the Phoenix Suns, like in that series. And so like I think as long as AD and LeBron are healthy, like teams will fear them. Like in a 7-game series, it's gonna be hard to beat them.
Maybe not the Grizzlies, but everyone else.
Right. Everybody else does.
If I'm Taylor Jenkins, I'm worried if I'm going into a series against LeBron and AD.
Right. I don't care how good Ja is. That's different. So, actually, with you guys bringing them up, we'll actually go here next. What I wanted to do is we're now approaching. We're kind of beyond the midway point technically, but we're right around All-Star Weekend. All the things going on there. So, I want to just revisit or make some new. All-Star or not All-Star, just some award picks right now. MVP, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, just those three at least. Just go down the list there and see what you guys think. Who currently is the top of those three awards. So, Alec, who you got as your MVP right now?
Yeah, I think since we last talked, someone actually leapfrogged in the discussion. I think that was Joel Embiid.
Oh, okay. Yes.
He's come up super high for me. While they haven't had the record success that other teams have, they're missing their other all-star in Ben Simmons, obviously. But Embiid's been on an insane run. Like, if you look at his last, 20 games or so,
correct,
insane. Like, and I think the last 5 or 6, he's, scored more, points than he's, played minutes on the floor.
Something like that, yeah.
So I think he's probably in, top 3 or 4 discussion for me in the MVP rankings. I think Giannis is right up there for me, around 1. Yeah.
Who I thought you were going to say is Jokic, because Jokic is on a tear right now also.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Jokic has made a big jump recently. He's averaging, I think, what I last saw was 32, 10, and 10 over the last 2 or 3 games, something like that. Over the last some little stretch he's on right now. He's on a crazy tear. So both of them bigs were in contention last year. Jokic, almost got it from Giannis last year as well. But they're definitely back and doing it yet again. Both of them without their co-star there. Jokic without Jamal Murray and Embiid without Simmons, who to Alec might not be the co-star, but still is still doing his thing.
Well, he's the co-star for sure.
Oh, I say that because you said Tobias is the second scoring option or whatever. That's
Korkmaz is still playing.
Second scoring option.
That's not hoping that. That's what I meant. But without their co-stars, both of those guys are still putting up big numbers, and they aren't at the top of their conferences or anything like that. But definitely holding up their teams higher or up at a good level still. So I think they're both in the
they're both in the
spot.
6th seed.
Yeah, both 6 seeds right now.
Which is tough.
Yeah, that definitely deserves some praise. Even though we did have high hopes for both of them. So they're in the discussion for me. And there are others too, but just wanted to make sure we mention them first.
I mean, for Jokic too, he's been missing Michael Porter Jr. for most of the year. So like that, like you mentioned 32 in the last few games, like that's not normally his thing, but his other two scoring options are out of there. So he's had to he actually, despite winning the MVP last year and having an incredible year, he's had to make adjustments even with that and is still thriving. So, because he won it last year and like, I mean, being the 6th seed in the West with having your 2 and 3 options out, like I still think he should win it, but sort of along the lines where Russ didn't win it that second year when he still averaged a triple-double, I just don't think that they're going to give it back-to-back like that.
I think looking at the standings too, for me it's probably still Giannis at 1, Embiid, Jokic arguable at 2. Like either way I'm fine with.
Hold on, you said Giannis still at 1.
Giannis is still at 1 for me. I think he gets overlooked. Like he's
I have no problem with that. I'm agreeing with you. What I was going to say is that media-wise, there were a lot of folks that were going to give Steph MVP after his first 20 games of the season, and now he's falling off as well.
This is why we don't vote then.
Right, exactly. But just to that point, we talked about Russ and his unfair criticism. We've seen Steph kind of fall off in recent weeks. Everybody talking about his shooting woes, and there's not been the same reaction. It's actually funny how the media works. What I've seen recently is more so that conversation about how people aren't reacting to Steph's woes rather than actually reacting to Steph's woes. You guys aren't reacting to it rather than just reacting. It's like more of a third person view.
Instead of talking about it, they're like, "Why aren't we talking about it?"
Exactly. Like, why? Just talk about it. It's right there. Just say it. So
who is going to talk about it?
I think people have started to catch on because it's now been like 3 weeks or so of Steph being like poor from the field.
They said Steph's shooting looks like tour dates.
It does. It's like James Harden had one of those too a year or two ago. It literally looks like tour dates.
It's
then just to your point, like I think people have started to catch on in the media because there was that clip, I don't know if you guys saw, of like Steph in practice shooting threes, and like he was kind of struggling. And like it's rare that you see like Steph practice footage where he's not like making like 100 in a row.
Where it's not the shot from the tunnel.
Exactly. But they were like, it seemed like they were maybe like trying a different like form with him a little bit, or like trying to get him out of his slump. And like that's not something you usually see with Steph. So it seems like people are kind of like
I think
actually noticing now.
The last point guard I heard that about was Markelle Fultz. So
fixing his form.
Don't know if that's good.
Yeah, not a complete overhaul, but it seemed like they were just like trying to like tweak something in his shot. Because like
so he doesn't have the full on yips. But.
No.
And to the point I tried making to you the other day is that the other difference with that as well is that Steph is having his woes, but the Warriors are still finding ways to win games.
Which is not even true.
They're like 3-7 right now, and they won the last 3 games. What are we talking about?
3-7 in their last 10 or whatever.
6-4.
6-4.
Oh, they flipped it? Okay, because they were like 4-6 like 2 days ago.
Yes, there was a short stretch as well. I will give you that, where they had some games where they were losing also. But to still be a top 2 seed,
they just beat up on the Mavericks last night. I saw that.
Right. But just the point of Steph has his woes, but the Warriors can still overcome it in a way. Or Steph can still contribute, and they find ways to win games. While again, it is overblown in some regard, there were moments where it felt like when Russ was bad, we lost because Russ played bad. So to the point about the reaction being kind of different, it was because the results. There was a result that came from their play that seems to be different there. Russ was affecting the end of the game, and we were losing because of it at times. Steph has his woes, and the Warriors, with all the ammo they have there,
that's kind of a cop-out to me, though, because the whole team defensively has been shit. Like, really shitty. So, that is there also. Say that Russ turned it over 5 times, so they lost, is like, that's a casual NBA fan.
I'm just pointing to our topic of Steph and Russ and the reaction between the two. Even if it's not the full picture.
Basically, you're saying that winning masked the struggle of Steph.
I get, I mean, from a casual view, folks will see Warriors are still 35-13. Steph is shooting bad, but they're still winning games. Russ is shooting 5 for 35, and then the Lakers are the 8th seed right now. It's not truly the full story, but that's what they see from afar. So that's just something I wanted to point to. So obviously we know, as you pointed out, that is a very casual view. So thank you for expanding on why that is such. So I agree with you.
One last thing on that is like, it just feels like people like to make jokes on both sides when the material's the same. Like people in the offseason were making fun of all the Lakers offseason moves, like this will be like a geriatric team, it's so old with all this stuff. But then like when, like we were just talking about earlier, like basically after Braun, AD, and Westbrook, like they're kind of a G League team. Like no disrespect to those guys, but like Austin Reeves did come out of nowhere and is now playing big minutes. Same with Stanley. So like, these guys more or less did kind of come off the scrap heap if they weren't on this team at the start of the year. So like, when you look at the Warriors and you have someone who like Draymond's going to play his defense no matter what, even a guy like if the Lakers just had like Juan Toscano Anderson, like how many of their issues like would that solve in terms of like a versatile wing defense? And they got him. They still have other scorers that can pick up after Steph. Like it's not the same at all. But I mean, to your point, it's the winning. Like that's all you have to do.
Yes. Yeah. So hopefully Lakers start putting more wins on the board. Hopefully the Celtics do as well. We'll get back to them. But to our original topic first, we're talking about MVP and all of that. So I think we all said Steph, or not Steph. Sorry, Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, something. That
Steph is still in like the top 10 or so.
Sure. But
he's just struggled mightily the last few weeks.
So you had Alec, you had Giannis. I think I'll actually go with that as well. Then Matt, you actually said Jokic.
Okay, I don't think he's gonna get it, but that's who my MVP
Got
is.
you. For right now, though, I think that's a good pick for the midway point or whatever. So that's MVP, Rookie of the Year. It's actually been a pretty good race this year. A lot of good rookies that have been stepping up to the plate. And it was kind of a big gap for a while, but a couple of guys started closing the gap. Started closing in on the leader there. So who you guys have as Rookie of the Year?
I think for me, it's still Evan Mobley.
Correct.
I think Scotty Barnes got off to a really, really hot, kind of like Steph, got off to that really hot start for first quarter or first third of the season. And he's still been good, but I think Mobley has been just like a little bit more consistently good throughout. And like you said, Cade has started closing the gap on them.
Yeah, I didn't say their names, but Cade, Evan was at the lead and Cade is closing in. He had like I think 40 last night, I think I saw. Or close to it against somebody.
I didn't realize
he had one of those like Thaddeus Young made up stats where it was like he's the first rookie since Jordan to have like 35, 10 rebounds, like 7 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks or something like that. It was one of those crazy lines, but it's like just him and Jordan. So like, I mean, he's literally doing it all. Like that's the 6'8" point guard that was billed to us, So I mean, he's my pick personally.
For Cade, 34 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, 4 blocks against the Nuggets last night. They lost by 5, but still an impressive performance there that he put up. So he's trying to find his groove and definitely deserves consideration in this race. So he was my preseason pick. My sleeper was Jaylen Green, who has not made the leaps that the other guys have made so far. But definitely salute to all of them. And it's definitely been a fun race so far. And definitely applaud them all. Real quick, Matt,
I think Giddy was my pick. I probably have him at 4.
Yeah, Matt, you talked about funky stats. Anthony Edwards, who's my future MVP, I'm happy to be aboard that bandwagon there. He had 40 points and no assists last night. I forgot who they played against, but definitely was fun to watch there. And he called himself Black Jesus after the game, and definitely love that.
Wait, what?
he said he felt like Black Jesus after the game.
Oh, man.
And he said he saw fear in the defender's eyes as he was. So
you can't be having them points. That's hilarious though. Like I love his personality.
Yeah, love his confidence and all of that he's doing there, and hope that Minnesota can continue to turn things around there. So just wanted to mention him real quick. But
I better see Black Jesus on his basketball reference page.
Right, it better be there right now. But yes, salute to all of them. That was MVP and Rookie of the Year we just discussed. Now, lastly, of the big awards, at least to note right now, Coach of the Year. There've been some impressive teams so far that deserve some praise, and some coaches that have got teams in good position. So, who you guys have as your Coach of the Year right now?
I mean, I think mine would honestly be JB Bickerstaff with the Cavs. I mean, they've been kind of quiet. Because like the way that they started, a lot of people were attributing that to like Ricky Rubio, and then he goes out for the year, like, and they're still cooking. Like it's, I mean, they went and got Rondo as the replacement. I don't know if he's playing heavy minutes for them, but they still seem to be playing.
He is playing, but not heavy minutes.
But also to that point about early on, not only was it the Rubio thing, but to have the three towers or whatever they called that early on, Laurie and Mobley and Allen all playing, to have that when everybody else was like 3-7 footers, you can't do that. And for them to have it make it work for the time that it did, at least, definitely deserves some praise there. So I like that pick for Bickerstaff.
They even got Kevin Love playing good basketball again.
Yeah,
yeah. So I like that pick. Alec, who you got?
Yeah, that was a great one. That's one we didn't talk about, but that's a great pick from Matt there, because most people probably had them worst 3 in the East going into the season. So,
right.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I think, like we said before we started recording, I think Taylor Jenkins is probably in that discussion, having the Grizzlies that high.
I imagine he's, if we're calling a favorite right now, I feel like I would say he's the favorite.
Yeah.
As much as I agree with that, I just can't let Monty Williams get overlooked yet again. He has to find a way. He's
not overlooked for us, but a victim of his own success, I guess, because they were the 2 seed. They were the 2 seed last year, so.
Right. 1 seed right now, 37-9, 7-game win streak. Yeah. Nobody seems to care.
A victim of his own success and a victim of Chris Paul, because Chris Paul always gets the Wonder Boy point guard.
Yeah. You can't give Coach of the Year to someone who has an on-court coach. Come on.
Exactly. So
they'll give Chris Paul Coach of the Year before Monty Williams.
Do you see pick and roll ball handler of the year, Chris Paul?
Exactly.
Definitely fun races there. Taylor Jenkins and the Grizzlies definitely are impressed. Everybody's raving about them. Bickerstaff definitely deserves praise. Some other people of note, Billy Donovan and the Bulls are still staying afloat. Their whole team was in COVID right now, I think, or they hurt or COVID or something. Their whole team is going through something right now.
The 3 key guys are good, but everybody else.
Lonzo's out right now. Right?
But they got Levine, DeRozan, and Vucevic are all good.
Those are 3. Okay, my fault. I give him praise to Lonzo, I guess, more than most. But
he's the 4th. But
the three guys there are still good, but the rest of them, even Levine was out for a little while, I believe, too, though. So even through all the things they keep dealing with, they are still second in the East right now and doing their thing there. So definitely applaud them. I know Matt doesn't like them for whatever reason, but the Heat. And
I just didn't like him in the preseason.
No. I'm talking about the Heat. Eric Spoelstra,
the Heat,
at the 1 seed right now. And definitely deserve praise for what they got going on there as well. Yeah. So
I'm already sick of Spo. He's been
like the quietest
for
1 seed.
Years. He's going to be the coach there for another 30. I'm just sick of him.
Yeah, he's great. He's a great coach.
This is all, like I said with the Kobe stuff, this is all hate coming off of the success. Like if he didn't have LeBron in the Heat killing my dreams, I wouldn't be here.
Also boy, was I wrong about Nate McMillan, because the Hawks have been in the dumps.
That's just a
we all were, though. I mean, we can't even say like that was something that they just all have completely felt falling apart. I guess, and we'll go to that next. On the flip side of all these awards we're giving praise to, there are a few teams that are sputtering that we did not expect. The Knicks have fallen apart. The Hawks, as you have talked about as well. And I guess
we kind of expected the Celtics.
Well, I mean, I didn't. But I said they were better than the Bulls. Alex,
during our preseason, you had the Celtics at 8, I believe.
Yeah,
I thought that might still be too high.
You did.
They're at 9 right now, and if the Knicks and Hawks can improve their play, they can still jump the Celtics. So it is possible that they fall even farther than that. So definitely want to mention them in that mix as well. And again,
do you want me to say the Celtics should tank? Is that it?
No. Well, what I'm actually going to say right now is that with the trade deadline approaching, I think it's right after the All-Star weekend. What moves could these teams make to get them back, not fully in contention, but just going back in the right direction, as they seem to be falling apart right now?
I mean, coming into the season, it kind of felt like a weird gap year for the Celtics. Like, and I'm sounds like I'm about to scapegoat Dennis Schroeder, because I am.
As we all do.
He hasn't been playing. Yeah, you guys know that feeling very well. He's perfect for it. No, but you know, a lot of people were saying coming into the year, like, oh, you know, after the whole bet on himself and it didn't work out, like people were wondering if he'd be playing selfishly. And I didn't pay any attention to that. I did not think that would be a factor. He's a professional. He had just won a ring. Like, chill. Yeah. No, like he honestly seems to be. Like, it is when he gets the ball on the perimeter, it's Dennis time. Like, it's just, and like he's on a 1-year deal. We know we're not going to re-sign him. Like, so what I want the team to do is, you know, just sort of get back into that. I mean, the team didn't take this perspective. It was just me, but like treat it as a gap year. Like, we're not doing well this season. Like, let's basically have like Jaylen and Jason Tatum, like basically pick who they want to be their teammates. I know, like, you know, it's a superstar driven league. Like, we have 2 budding superstars right now. So like, let them, you know, if they love how Grant Williams can hit the 3 this year, let's keep Grant Williams. You know, if they like Romeo Langford's hustle off the ball, then let's keep him. If not, see what you can get for him.
I guess you're already answering that question, but before that, you believe in them as a duo still?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I think, you know, there was a lot of noise, especially earlier in the season, just about like if they can play together, which I think is ridiculous. Like, this whole league is built off of like wings that can score and
switchable wings. Yeah.
Right.
And we have the perfect like 2 and 3, 3 and 4, however you want to build your team. Like, they work really well together. Jaylen Brown in particular has made big strides in his playmaking. He's had some games with like, if he hasn't hit double-digit assists yet this year, he's been close a couple times. I know Jason Tatum did recently. So like they're making strides, and I feel like because of that, you know, like
we all got the stat pad against the Kings.
I mean, yeah, thank you, thanks Sacramento. That was a nice game last night. It was fun to get sent down to the G League for a little warm up. You know, it was like a rehab start. But yeah, I mean, so like, to answer your question, G, like, I don't think there's a move that they can make that puts them back into contention. Like, I never, you know, when I was thinking they were better than the Bulls to start the year, that was me thinking they were like fringe contenders. And clearly they're not. But like, if we can deal Dennis for like maybe a nice piece or like some, even a fucking trade exception, since they love getting those, like just doing something with that in the offseason, because a lot of their moves this previous offseason, you know, like dealing Kemba, taking on Horford's big contract, which Al Horford's shooting like 20% from 3 this year.
Really?
He's someone he might be on the buyout market.
He was decent in OKC last year.
He
used that to get back to Boston now, and then just fell apart again.
He's still out. Like, he can still pass and defend ish, you know, defend 5s really, but like, God, he cannot shoot at all this year. But yeah, so I mean, it's just been a down year in terms of that. But like, a lot of the last season's moves, you know, last off seasons, I should say, were really looking like they're angling towards this one, so we can try to sign like another max level player, like have the cap space to get a trade done with someone. So I'm still holding out hope that that's what we're doing, but there's still
you
a
guys
lot of
just made a small trade like for Dozier and
that was strictly like, I think it was to get under the luxury tax.
Bol after he failed the Pistons physical.
Right, yeah. So I mean, and Dozier's out for the year and then a free agent. So it was, I think it was, we traded Hernan Gomez just to free up luxury space.
So work to do there between the Knicks and Hawks, or any coming on the Celtics. Alec, any trades you see happening there that you want to see at the buzzer here?
Oh, like right at the deadline? Because I was gonna say, like, a guy like Rubio is perfect for what the Celtics need, or like a guy like Lonzo. Like, if they tried to get Lonzo before he signed with the Bulls, but like more of a pure pass first point guard, to feed Jaylen and Jason. Because while they can create for themselves, they're not always the best at creating for others. Even though Jaylen has made strides, as you said, I think they're best as like shooting guard, small forward types. So a pure point guard like that, I don't know that one is available. I know that the Pacers did say a lot of their players were available, so maybe a guy like Brogdon, if you're able to,
he would fit well there. That would, I mean, I know he has kind of a big deal, so I mean, maybe Horford if the Pacers want him. But
they're selling, so they might actually.
I mean, that would be ideal.
That was just off the top of my head. Like, that could be a real good fit. They could use that type of creation.
Exactly, because he's more of a playmaker than Smart is, because they've been letting Smart run the point a lot, which I've loved, and I mean, I think he can be.
He did it in college.
Goes back. He goes back and forth between a between being a pass first point guard and not being one. So it's a
Jack
little inconsistent there. Yeah. Sometimes it's smart time. But yeah,
the Hawks though, I'm not sure, like, because I thought it looked like they had like an embarrassment of riches at one point.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Like the riches are constantly hurt or not playing, or playing underneath what we thought their potential was.
They sold Cam Reddish for
whatsoever. So
they got rid of Cam Reddish for nothing. It seemed like. I mean, they got back Solomon Hill and Kevin Knox. I think it was something like that. But
no one really seems to understand that trade. I don't know what the thinking was behind it, because we thought that was one of their more valued pieces. I mean,
I told you they were selling on him, and he's not getting much playing time in New York either. So it's just like, I don't know what.
I think there was rumbling that he had asked for a trade. Actually,
right. I mean, I'm sure because it wasn't working there, but I thought he was a real good talent, and I'm not sure why it's not clicking anywhere right now. So we'll see.
But I'm not exactly sure what they do. I know Collins has wanted out in the past.
And there was a lot of talk, or ironically, about Ben Simmons maybe going there.
That helped defensively for sure.
Yeah. So, hey, well, I don't know about that one either. But
I don't know if Morey's going to settle for that after all these trades he's turning down.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's a deal there unless he's getting Trey back, and they're not trading Trey. So, sorry about that one. And then lastly, I mentioned the Knicks as well. I mentioned it to you again. It was maybe a year ago, I think. Just the idea of the Knicks using Julius Randle the same way the Nets used D'Angelo Russell. You got a good run out of him, and he showed a nice little flash. Julius showed a greater flash than D'Angelo did, being in the MVP discussion last year or whatever that was. And that was something that seemed great. But also, I believe it was a contract year for Julius. I mean, all he does in contract years, and it definitely was. At least I believed it was, and at least for now, it's showing true to be a peak for him. So with that being the case for him, I thought it was a perfect opportunity. While I know New York fell in love with him at that moment, and it seemed like they were building something great, and the culture was reestablished in New York, and all of that, I thought that was a great opportunity for a guy that I did not believe was a true number one to flip for number one. There were talks about Dame and people like that could have been in the building. If you could use Julius to go get a guy that would have been a true number one for you guys, I thought that would have been a great opportunity. In the same way that the Nets used a nice run that the Nets had with D'Angelo and Spencer Dinwiddie and all those guys, ended up getting KD and others back in the building instead. I thought the Knicks should have followed that same blueprint, but instead stuck with Julius as their centerpiece, and now are struggling because of it. He hasn't had the most impressive of a season. Is not anywhere near the MVP discussion as he was a year or two ago. And I think from what I've seen from afar, at least, Knicks fans aren't too happy with him either. So that love affair that they had early on has fallen apart there. And I still believe that if you can find a way to get a better centerpiece there, if he has to be involved in that process, that you do so. Do you agree with that now, a year and a half later, or you still think that Julius should stay in the Knicks building?
I mean, it depends on the direction that they're looking to go. Like, I guess, like offensively. But I think still, as I was saying too, I think they needed to bring in someone that could make Julius a true number two, because I think the talent is still there, but when he's forced to be the number one guy, we saw in the playoffs that it doesn't work. Like he's not one dimensional, but like he's really good at one thing as far as like the bully ball. And he's a decent enough creator for everyone else, but when they're like keying in on you and then everyone else like can't really shoot well, that's why they tried to bring in shooting. But that didn't work with Evan Fournier. And
I mean, they tried to bring in shooting with guys like Fournier and then trade away Reggie Bullock. Or like
And losing guys like Reggie Bullock and Frankie Smokes, honestly, defensively really hurt them. So their defense went to shit. But yeah, I think you could either go your route as far as trading him for a number one
Zion Williamson.
Right, sure. I guess
Zion, I'm sure, has eyes for New York.
Hey, I mean,
to your point, real quick, Alec, about bringing in a piece to go alongside Julius. I don't think they have pieces elsewhere that could go and get a number one to go with Julius. So to get number one, you have to give up Julius to get that guy. So
I meant more as of a signing.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
Finding him if possible, then yeah. But they went and got Kemba instead, and that's been all over
the amount of money they gave him. That should have been Fournier. Like that's
right?
in theory, at least offensively, that's what they got him for. But that's not who Evan Fournier is. So
because I felt they needed a elite point guard option, like that could be the first option, like a Dame Lillard, that kind of thing, to pair with Julius. Like the Sixers are looking for a James Harden to pair with Embiid. Like, I think he needed that, like someone that can run the offense, because they don't really have a point guard either.
I mean,
they
have him in a decade.
Point Derrick Rose had a nice run, but he's a
good backup. Like he's still a good backup.
Yeah, he's their like instant offense off the bench.
Yeah. But Matt, what do you think of my theory of whatever you want to call it, and what do you think just about the Knicks?
I mean, I think it's right. Like, I completely agree with it. I mean, it made sense to me at the time when you first said it, and I mean, just after how last season went and just sort of like the fanfare around Julius, King Julius, all that stuff, like. It makes sense why they didn't want to deal him. It's like, we finally have this player that fans are liking, like the first one since
got back to the playoffs.
Since we had a month of Jeremy Lin. Yeah, like
Michael's going crazy and all of that.
Exactly. So like, you want to keep that guy around, but at the same time, like, I mean, I don't know if they necessarily regret not dealing him at this point, but I mean, I said Zion. They have Cam Reddish and RJ Barrett there now.
They got 2 of
Zion's
the 3.
Been unhappy. Didn't we all expect Zion to come back like a month into the season or something?
Yeah, my fantasy team was.
What'd you say?
My fantasy team's been waiting.
But like,
get it together.
I don't know. Like, we saw the way AD left New Orleans. Like, I mean, Chris Paul even to an extent. Like, I don't think he's gonna stick around. Like, I think there's something going on with Zion. Like, I just do not think he's gonna stay there.
Yeah.
Like, this whole injury thing with him has been so weird. Like, I feel like in the past, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you've had like these blue chip young guys who struggle with injury, like I feel like people are usually they like try to keep the fans updated about it, especially at a place like New Orleans where like Zion, not even just like locally, is the fan attraction. Like, he is one of the main attractions that the NBA as a league pushes.
Yeah.
So I feel like if it was just an injury, like, we would have more information about it.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's this
still have legit concerns about like his weight, like management as well too. While he can play at a heavier weight than other guys.
Yeah, like long term, that's not good for his career. Yeah, right. But like, I mean, like, I've always wanted someone to just test the waters in terms of the, like, all the first round NBA guys usually sign their second deal with the same team. And like, while it makes sense for them financially, like, they get more money by doing that. Like, at the same time, a guy like Zion, who
he may be the first not to.
I want him to be. I want him to
force
be
yourself
so
to
bad.
do that. I know the money is there, but the playing opportunities that could be elsewhere, I think maybe too good to pass up. So I get what you're saying.
Exactly, because for New Orleans, like, if you can get Julius, or if Zion's going to leave, he's probably going to go to New York to join up with his friends, and you can get Julius Randle out of it. Like, he still may have his condo in New Orleans. I don't know. Like, this might be able to work out.
Yeah, and it might depend on too, like, what happens with Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, I mean, that's big, and that's a good segue too.
He needs to be in Cleveland. We've been saying it. Everyone's been saying it. He should be in Cleveland.
That needs to happen. I mean, that just like unlocks that Cavs team.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, they're already doing well, like I said. That's
the last piece right there. So we see how that plays out. But if they do that, then Zion should go too. And I think if he can go and replace Julius, ironically, with him being called him and Julius always being put next to each other playing style wise. I think that would be
I will give credit to the Pelicans as well, though, because even with like Zion being out and struggling, I think they're
playing all right.
They were 8 games below 500 like before Thanksgiving or something, and now they've been like a couple games above, like 14 and 12 or something like that since Thanksgiving. So like they've been playing really good basketball, and I think they're only a couple games out of the play-in at this point.
Yeah, they're the 11 right now.
Yep.
Yeah, so credit to Willie Green, his first-year coach for them, and I still think David Griffin tricked y'all, as we like to say, but I do want to give them a little bit of credit because they're playing without their all NBA talent in Zion.
Yeah, treading water.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Portland's the 10 seed right now too, and with Dame's injury status,
they're
could easily slip.
Yeah, they very much could get in the play-in.
Yeah. And I will say this, and it's been growing online also, just moving around the rest of the league. The Trailblazers with Anthony Simons, or is it Simons or Simmons?
Simons.
I think it's Simons.
Simons. Yeah, with his play, what I'm seeing right now, they have a guy that they could build around if Dame is gone. He hasn't been perfect for every game, but he has shown enough flashes where it's like, all right, we do have a guy here that could hold it down for us if we do get if Dame does move on somewhere. Now Dame is the one that's choosing to stay. He's not running from the grind or whatever, which AKA ruining his career or whatever. But he's staying in Portland. But if they do decide to move on from him, they do have guys that could step up in his replacement. So we'll see what they decide to do there. Dame, as I said, doesn't want to leave, but yeah, they got pieces if they decide to move elsewhere anyway. So
I think Dame said too, I think Dame said he's not going to come back this season, or there's no point in coming back if they're not trying to win games.
Yeah,
well, you weren't trying to win games when you signed Ben McLemore, so you play anyways. So what does that mean?
They were, but that wasn't the move that was going to get it done.
Whatever, man. Whatever.
Yeah. Dame saying, "I'm running unless you're grinding. You need every win."
I guess circling back to something else we joked about earlier on, the Kings lost by 30 last night. I said, I'll say it again.
It was like 50.
Oh, 50, whatever. 100.
It was not your average blowout. It was
listen, man. I think I said last episode it was time to blow it up, and they continue to show that's time to blow it up. The pieces are there.
You said blow the team up. I said blow the entire organization up.
Blow it all up. Blow Sacramento. Not all Sacramento. Shout out. Hold on. Shout out to my family in Sacramento. Don't blow up the whole city of Sacramento.
No, bring back the Monarchs. The WNBA.
The organization. all the Kings out there. None of them. I know Tyrese Halliburton came out with a quote after the game last night and was like, hate us now, but we're back up top.
I don't want to hear that. No.
So I'm sorry, bro. I appreciate your effort, especially as a guy who's been following you guys a little bit closer now, even through the woes you guys seem to have. Thank you for being committed to this team still, but this is not a team that deserves that type of respect, that type of loyalty right now. Go in and have a career elsewhere or whatever the case. But yeah, this team just needs so much of a rebuild. I don't know what the guys up top are seeing to make them hold on to this team in the way that they've done
to see the door.
For so long.
Yeah.
People have seen the door. They brought in new management and things, and they've still tried to just draft guys and whatever.
I think it's the ownership. I think it's the ownership. I know. I think at least the majority owner is Vivek Ranadive or something like that. And I just remember. It was soon after, it was when Boogie was still on the team, I remember.
Right.
But I think it was soon after he bought the team, he was like, I think I want the guys to, maybe look into doing some 4-on-5. We'll only send 4 guys back on defense. So then you can just have DeMarcus, he has a dunk on the other end. So if this is truly the mind that is at the head of your organization, and
you're the owner, not the head coach.
That's what I mean, though.
But Steph Curry, I think, in that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he said Buddy Hield. Yeah, but if this is the mind that's running your organization, you can say, leave the basketball to your head coach or GM and all that, but the reality is most rich people aren't going to have the ego to do that, or they'll have too much of an ego to do that. So, I feel like most people are going to be in that, kind of Mark Cuban lane. And I wonder if that's where Vivek is. They just don't have the status as the Mavericks do or any of that. He may not be doing as many things as Cuban, where the other night Cuban was trying to argue with the refs about how many fouls someone had.
Right.
That's owners should not be this hands-on. You're making all the money, you just write the checks. You're either your parents or you were excellent at something that got you all this money. So just cut the checks now, man. This is
people joke about the Heat culture, but the Kings are a team that truly lacks any type of culture. It's a losing culture at this point. That's why I feel like you have to clean house and start from scratch.
It should have been done that. And the thing is, the teams above them keep giving them opportunities. Like the Trailblazers are kind of falling apart. So getting into the playoff as a 10th seed, that opportunity of jumping ahead of them is there. The Spurs are on the rebuild. You could have jumped ahead of them for this little short window. The Pelicans are figuring out their ways right now with Zion out. You got a chance to jump ahead of them, but instead you continue to blow games and have these embarrassing losses, and you're below all of them still, only above two teams that we know are clearly tanking in the Thunder and the Rockets right now. So they could have been a team that's in around the 8 or 9 seed with the Clippers having their guys PG and Kawhi out too. But instead, they are a squad that's stuck at 13 seed Kings, as Alec always teasing me about.
Usually 11 seed. They might get back into their
13 seed, same thing, are sitting there. So it's also
down
crazy
here,
thing, I guess,
seed.
as I already kind of said, just as a squad that I feel like when they finally blow it up, these guys are going to go on and be nice pieces for other teams. But as a team all together themselves, they just don't work. So it's just the pieces are, I guess that's what they're holding on to. All those nice pieces there, we don't want to give them up. But it's like they do not work together at all. And they continue to show that. And you keep holding on, hoping for something to change. And it's not going to change. So,
I mean, to add, like, Alec, you mentioned culture earlier. And, like, what that kind of reminds me of is, like, if we think of the true process era Sixers before they got good, like they had guys that were quality NBA players, like Robert Covington.
Covington, Jeremy Grant. They had a few guys that looked in that building.
They had a lot of guys.
They had Caruso at one point.
Caruso, yeah, right.
No AC, no ring. Like we're seeing it here. But the point is that they have all these quality guys, but if there isn't any sort of like identity or real like attempt at winning, because it really. I don't know. Like, of course, that game that the Kings just tragically lost was the Celtics, so I watched most of it. Like, it looked like there was not a shred of intention to win that game out there. No. Like, even when they got down 30, it was like, oh, maybe we'll get on 40. I don't fucking know.
They probably strike the least fear in anyone's heart. Like, there's worse teams in the NBA, but they probably strike the least fear.
But, like, you don't know if Shea can go off for, like, 30, 10, and 10 on a night. Like, the Thunder could beat you that way. So
exactly.
And they're not, and they won't commit to tanking enough to just follow through and get the first pick. So they'll just stay getting these like 6th or 7th picks in the draft.
Didn't they get like number 2 and pick Marvin Bagley?
Yes.
Oh, and the one thing they did get the 2 pick, they went and got Bagley. Oh, they also got. I will say that's right. They did. They got De'Aaron Fox one time, which thankfully they got that. I mean, but the other time they passed up on Trey and them and got Bagley instead. And then the rest of it's it's just. Yeah, they kind of just sit around that 6th or 7th pick in the draft for most years. So hopefully they can just tank. Just at this point, I don't know what more you need to see from this team to show that they are not committed to winning as you hoped, and that it's time for a reset. So I bring them up. I know folks don't really care for the Kings, but I follow them somewhat. I'm one of the few that follows them a little bit and just get annoyed seeing them lose like this, but still claiming to be caring about winning and turning the tide. This is like you're fooling yourself.
They got to bring in Tom Thibodeau. He's like the wizard as far as bad teams that don't care about winning and making them play defense.
Going, he might be there next. It's possible.
I mean, this is the Thibodeau cycle. Like he's at the end of his cycle with the Knicks. He had his coach of the year. He played everyone 35 minutes a game. Now it's time to do that in Sacramento.
Let's run another team into the dirt, and the Kings got plenty of guys that can run. So
he's the new Larry Brown.
But enough Kings talk. Anything else you guys want to talk about NBA wise? Okay, sorry, camera shut off real quick. But we're back. Anything else NBA wise you want to discuss real quick?
I was saying I don't think so. I think we can talk about the MLB Hall of Fame. Matt said he had a rant prepared. So
I'm not a baseball guy like that, but I have seen things from afar. I'm moving on beyond the NBA. There's the Hall of Fame selections that came out for the MLB. David Ortiz did get in, Big Papi. Salute to him for that. I know we're LA guys, Boston, but whatever. For that, I know Matt's happy about that. But someone who snubbed yet again is Barry Bonds, and I'll say that and leave the floor open to you guys. Go on your rants about how you feel about that selection not happening yet again.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just some BS. Like, you're hearing it from everyone else. Like, there's no way this video is the first time a listener is hearing someone complain about Barry Bonds right now. But like, it's ridiculous, man. Like, especially ironically about Barry Bonds, what kind of made me the most angry is the fact that Ortiz got in on his first ballot. Because as much as I love him and I think he deserved it, like as far as what I'd like my vision of the Baseball Hall of Fame to be, like I think it should be more like basketball. Like give guys their flowers. Like if someone was good, put them in. All the complaining, but in terms of Barry and Ortiz specifically, like Barry just ended up taking on like he just became the face of the steroid era, amongst other guys, but like he felt like the lightning rod of all those players. And then you look at a guy like Ortiz, and he, as much as I don't like to talk about it, he has a positive PED test. Like if we're trying to do all the, protect the, pureness of the game or whatever they say, like if we're doing that, then do it. Like, but I think Ortiz got by because he was a really iconic, well-liked player in a city that has an oversized media impact. And who votes on this? Like, it's the Baseball Writers of America. Right. And when a lot of people in the sports media tend to come from Boston, him winning the Red Sox their first 3 rings since 1918, like that's going to make an oversized impact. And like even just the trickle down with that, like you see a guy, Ortiz has been doing media for the last few years. That helps you a lot. Bonds had a horrible relationship with the media, basically his whole career. And I
haven't seen him in the spotlight in a long time. So.
Right. So like, are we just going to turn this into a hall of good players who were really nice to the nerds in the locker room? Like, is that what this is turning into? Because like Bonds, any way that Bonds treated the media or any of that, like it shouldn't have any impact on this, but it does, and I think that just like fuels this greater problem with like sports media, where I feel like a lot of guys, like the media, their job is to convey the stories. Like the stories should be there. Like when you write about a sport, it should be off of your observation of the sport. Like in theory, people writing about basketball should be huge basketball fans. People writing about baseball should be huge baseball fans. So like you should just be able to watch a game, listen to the post-game press conferences, and then it's basically just like concluding what you observed and like how the arena felt, because not everyone can be at the crypto arena that night. Like that's your job. It's not to put all this opinion stuff in there and then try to be some gatekeeper to like what makes someone a good baseball player, which is I feel like exactly what they've done here.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna ask you, as far as like, do you think the voting process like should be different as far as who determines like who gets into the Hall of Fame? Because like you said, it's the Baseball Writers Association. I mean, like, is that the best determination for like who should get in the Hall of Fame?
I mean, the only issue is like what other, what do you replace it with? Because like I don't think it's the best, especially when you think about these jobs. Like a lot of these guys have been writing for the same papers for like 50 years. And then we think about just like society. If you've been in that position for 50 years, what were the hiring managers? How did the hiring managers make this decision? So then it opens up questions about like diversity and like a more, a quieter sort of soft-spoken, very big black dude. I wonder why the white baseball media didn't really like this guy, like, so there are all these undertones with it. And like, sure, Ortiz is the same guy, but he's smiling, has a larger than life personality, spent like 15 years with the same team developing these relationships, and then these baseball writers all talk to each other. So then you talk to someone who's in Boston who has like this story, I know Ortiz has a million of these stories around, but like, just like buy someone dinner, like he was just one of those guys. So you have these stories and they spread, and what I feel like the Hall of Fame has come down to is just how do the writers feel about you? And
that's why I feel like it's kind of an issue when it's like solely based on their bias. Like I think they do take numbers into account, but bias like clearly comes in. And we've seen that a little bit like with the Football Hall of Fame too, like Terrell Owens, because of his
that was big,
being out of that kind of thing. And I don't think that's really fair. Like it's hard to draw a line like where a guy shouldn't get in because of something that wasn't like on field kind of thing. Like that had to do like with the behavioral thing. Like while steroids did help his performance, I'm sure in ways as far as power, he was still a Hall of Fame level player before the PEDs as well too. And
he basically had 2 Hall of Fame careers.
And the PEDs were rampant like amongst the players. It wasn't like just him. Like that was literally the steroid era was the era of baseball. Like it wasn't just
the pitchers and hitters were all using them. Like it was just everyone was on the juice.
It's kind of tough for them to take a stance on that. Like they snubbed Roger Clemens as well too. I think, like PED use as well. Kind of tough to take a stance like that when it was so much a part of your game. And like I saw someone tweet like, so is the MLB planning on like giving all the money back that they they got from the steroid era because they're not letting guys in now because of it? Like all those home runs that brought people out to the stadiums and all that. Like,
and then you think about like the juice ball stuff that's been happening recently, and like doesn't that essentially have the same effect? Because like you know, like I vividly remember having a conversation with my dad about Barry Bonds, and he's like, "Nah, I never can't be in the Hall of Fame. He's a cheater, all that." And it's like, okay, well, is the juice like what steroids did? And like part of his argument, right? Like the purist of baseball is like it shouldn't be in there because then, you know, Ted Williams's 700 something home, or I don't think he got there, but like Ted Williams's home runs don't mean Hank Aaron's home runs don't mean as much. And when when Barry Bonds can hit like as many as he did on the juice, but like then the same thing comes into play when you look at the juice ball. Like once that's introduced, and like I think it was a couple years ago when people were hitting all those home runs, like then that throws the exact same wrench into the sanctity of the record books and all that. Like even then, like as I say the phrase sanctity of the record books, like I want to punch myself in the face. Like that's not what we watch sports for. Like you know, like that's not why people tune in.
I will say like some of his records maybe like they might get like an asterisk to me because like he was on the juice, so like you don't know how many hits without it, you know how many he hit with it. So you could maybe put an asterisk there, but like they still stand, like he still hit them. And I think the talent, like we said, he had a Hall of Fame career before the PEDs as well too. Like I don't think it should prevent him from getting in. And I feel like you need a different process where it's not biased old white men that are deciding who.
And that's unfortunately that's baseball. Like the other thing I wanted to go into off of this is, you know, they have their the baseball lockouts ongoing, so they're in discussion about their new collective bargaining agreement. And like I think I read somewhere that like the owners want players' salary to be able to be tied to their wins above replacement figure. Really? Which like both of your reactions to that say it all, but like
how does that work?
So like, and even then, like there's two different main websites that track WAR in baseball, and it varies very differently, like how those stats are calculated. I think it's like Fangraphs and like maybe Baseball Reference. I know Fangraphs is
probably Baseball Reference,
yeah, but like there's two different WAR figures. Like you could look at a player like Mookie Betts, and he could have like a 7.8 WAR one year, and then on the other one he has like a 6.8 WAR, and it's like, oh well, that's because one of them favors defense more, and it's like, why
I didn't realize there wasn't like a universal stat.
But like that just goes to show you with analytics in general, like they aren't the sort of like telltale sign that people like to paint them out as. Like,
they're never the end all be all.
Right. And like what I think the two different WAR scores can show you is like we don't even really know what we're doing. Like both of these are supposed to be determining the same thing, but you guys can't agree on what actually constitutes a win for a player. Like if we can't do that, then we certainly don't want to be tying player salaries to this. And like WAR is a stat that got so popular in baseball because of the baseball writers. And like if they're the ones that are propagating, you know, these stats to use, and now the ownership may want to directly tie player salary to it, it seems a little fishy. You know, like the NBA has stuff like that in terms of the Supermax. Like you can be eligible for a Supermax once you've been on an all NBA team, I think. And like I think there may even be different levels depending on how long you're in the league. Like that one,
I think something like that.
And like even that one is questionable to me because it's not, you know, like that's not an incentive in terms of the ones like Antonio Brown where it's clear cut and like you have to hit these many receptions, these many touchdowns. It's so ambiguous. Like what goes into WAR? Like a player's not going to know how he can directly raise his WAR. Like you know, like if one if our team's using the one with defensive stats count more, like just because I'm a power hitter and don't play the field well, does that mean, I'm not going to be compensated? Right.
Yeah.
It gets
that's
really
a very
dicey.
tricky, like slippery slope to start connecting it to an analytic.
And like the reason I bring it up is it all comes back into like how the writers in the media perceive the sport itself. Like we've gotten to a point where in most of the sports, like that actually it comes around and has a negative effect on the sport itself. Like I think a lot of the media circus around the Lakers struggles are why that ESPN piece had to come out in the first place, of them directly blaming that one play by Russ. Like we don't have to do this. Like we can just play, It feels like it's doing too much to me.
Got you.
Yeah. Yeah, baseball sometimes like gets in its own way. It seems like as an organization, they have one of the worst commissioners in sports. Like I think me and Matt talked about, he might be the worst of the four major sports.
He's the leader, certainly. I mean,
so I think that plays a part in it. Yeah. But yeah, it's tough when you like kind of haven't really set a precedent to try to now set a precedent that one of the best players of all time can't get in because used. So
like are we gonna completely discount like Jose Altuve's career because of the trash can shit? Like are we just gonna erase those hits from his record? Like that would even seem extreme. But like if we're going all out for Bonds, should we do that for the whatever year Astros?
Yeah.
So, hey, I'll let y'all do
that was baseball talk.
I was looking up right now to see if I missed anything in regards to our topics and all of that. But yeah, definitely enjoyed that. We'll see how things play out. Definitely wrong what they did to Bonds there, and hopefully they can one day right that. And fix everything going on with that league. So fun things across the board there. We just talked about all the NBA things. Last episode we talked about NFL things. Alec, I know about college basketball. You want to talk about that real quick?
Oh yeah, just our Wildcats lost to the Bruins last night.
Yeah, I had to bring that up.
Bruins. I was expecting a little better performance, but I think Kerr had like 0 for 12 or something like that from the field.
That was bad, and he's been like one of the more consistent guys this year, at least offensively, like distributing and scoring. So
can't win. Probably a better performance. I think they play again in like a week or two. So
right, because that was a postponed one.
Yeah, that was postponed. So we'll definitely bounce back from that. Looking forward to how things continue on the rest of the year. Looking forward to March Madness, which is creeping up as well. So just fun things in college basketball. Still keeping an eye on it a little bit. Definitely some good things there. And then just beyond all of that, just wanted to circle back real quick to one thing in the NBA that just went down. I believe her name is Shelly Kyatt Weston. I believe her name is, and she was just promoted to the executive vice president and chief operating officer of the Cleveland Cavaliers, making her the first Black woman to hold that role for an NBA team. So I just wanted to applaud her for that feat there. Definitely a major move there. Just to hope we continue to see more improvement in that regard across the league and things. So,
and while we're talking stuff like that, I know you guys mentioned it on a recent episode. Becky Hammon going to the Aces. I know you guys mentioned, because she was kind of billed for a while as like she would be,
the next Spurs coach.
Yeah, she would break the glass ceiling basically in the NBA. But given this Aces team in the WNBA, like they have been one of the most talented rosters in the league for the past couple years, but they just never put it together. So to have it makes me think that this is what Becky Hammon was waiting for, like one of the W teams, like one of the elite W jobs to come open so she can take that. And I can't wait. It's kind of the trendy pick if you're just getting into the WNBA to become an Aces fan. I mean, if any, Alec, I know you remember Kelsey Plum. I think she was.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the team with like Asia Wilson and.
Yeah, Asia Wilson, Liz Cambage, although she may be on the move, but like they're a really exciting team, and I think it's a perfect spot for her. So I just wanted to shout out.
She's a big fan of Liz Cambage for sure.
How can you not be?
Liz, man, she hold it down. But definitely salute to them. That'll be a big move. I want to look up real quick because I heard there was rumors of Breanna Stewart going somewhere. It wasn't actually Las Vegas, so it was New York. So we'll see how that move may affect things. But
is that where Sabrina plays?
I believe so. Yeah. So definitely some major moves going on there. She could go there and stay there and live by herself there, and would love that as they go on to do things there. But to the point about breaking that glass ceiling, if she uses that job and impresses there and comes back to the NBA one day and does that also, definitely could be a thing that's still an option. So yeah,
sure.
Still hoping for all of that. Again, I guess into this topic also, with the talk of Byron Leftwich as the head coach for the Jags. Hopefully we continue to see more diversity amongst Black head coaches in the NFL and general managers. I think the Browns may have actually just hired someone as their GM. I forgot. I'm blanking on that.
Ready to get Baker out of there.
Hey, we shall see. But just love to see the increased diversity in the league, even if it is once at a time. I'm glad we're moving forward in some direction rather than going back. So just salute to them. They're all making that progress there, and hope we continue to see it moving forward. So
Brian Flores better have a job. Head coaching job.
Yeah.
I do not, as much as I'd love him back in the Patriots. That man deserves a head coaching job. The Dolphins should not have fired him. Same with David
Culley. Like David Culley deserves another opportunity somewhere.
For sure.
He got done dirty over the Texans and then getting fired after one season.
It took him he's been like an NFL coach for like 35 something years.
Yeah.
Culley. Like he had to go up the ladder and then got his one chance, and it barely was
a terrible opportunity.
I know this doesn't fit the conversation, but shout out Davis Mills. He was pretty good.
He had a decent year, actually. And I think he was a rookie.
Yeah. But hopefully he gets Culley's another opportunity, and we continue to see the progress made there. So that's all the sports stuff. Got that out of the way. Real quick, we'll make a short note of it because we don't want to give any spoilers of it. But Ozark is top 5 if you didn't know already.
Absolutely.
That show part 1 of the last season was very, very elite. I'm thoroughly
satisfied
with what I saw from that. I don't think this is a spoiler.
You don't think?
I'll just say that one of the folks on there is in the nasty Hall of Fame. I won't say who. There's not but one of them, you're nasty. You're sick. you need help.
Oh my god!
But beyond that,
agreed.
Ozark is a great show. Very excited for part 2 of the final season that's on the way. Hopefully soon. And Euphoria is still rolling on. Matt, you watch Euphoria right now? Or you watching anything right now?
I'm horrible at watching TV. So. I think I'm like right now? 4 episodes in through Succession though. So
man, you still got work to do.
Good.
That's it's in the queue.
That's Elite TV also. So good stuff there. Alec, we'll talk about Euphoria another time next episode. Another show that I actually started watching too. Abbott Elementary is actually a really good show. It's on Hulu. People are talking about that a little bit, and I finally caught on to it. So really good show, kind of
it's a comedy, right?
In a school setting. I'm blanking on her name.
Quinta. Is it? Quinta Brunson.
Quinta Brunson. Thank you. Yes, it is the lead on the show alongside Tyler James Williams and others. Who are all a great cast there of teachers trying to keep a school afloat and have a great time there. Tyler as Chris, like everybody hates Chris, is already used to staring at the camera a little bit, a little side of the office. So he does a good job on this show, peeking at the camera at times when dumb stuff happens and beyond. And they all do a great time. So it's week by week right now. It's currently debuting still. It's like 4 episodes in. Great opportunity right now if you have Hulu or watch on ABC to watch these first 4 and then continue to follow along as they unfold. So good thing there. That's the 3 I'm watching TV wise. Alec, anything else you got in your TV show rotation right now?
Not right now, because I had basically I was rewatching Ozark and then finished Ozark. I was gonna ask if either of you guys have checked out Peacemaker because that's gotten really good reviews.
I've heard good things.
I still haven't seen Suicide, the newest Suicide Squad.
Okay. So you want to watch that
both of those, right?
Okay. Yeah, but that's gotten great reviews, so I'm probably gonna check that out. I haven't checked out the Book of Boba Fett yet either, but that's gotten pretty decent reception as well too. I think that's it as far as the major shows that are kind of popular right now. Yeah.
So the good shows on one end, and then Alec, you and Matt geeked out about baseball a minute ago. Now you and Matt can geek out a little bit about some music.
There we go.
Some great albums coming out shortly. Very excited for the music that's on the way. Alec, you know about it too, but I know me and Matt talk about some of the underground folks a little bit more. So definitely all of us are excited for things that are on the way. Earl's album, as I already mentioned, Earl Sweatshirt, his album was great. Still thoroughly enjoyed that one. Gunna's album, I don't know about y'all, but I actually still go back to that a whole lot too. That's good.
You say Gunna?
Yeah, Gunna's album, his latest one actually was pretty good. So we're going back to that a lot. They actually beat young Michael Jackson, whatever they want to call him now. The Weeknd, they beat his album for number 1.
People saying that album aged like Melt.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I've really been listening to it, so I don't know.
First, call him Michael Jackson.
Is that why the cover looks like an old man?
Maybe.
Shit. See what happened? Should left Michael's name alone, but here we are. But Gunna did his thing and thoroughly enjoying that, and some great ones. We're continuing to get a great year of music. Albums are starting to get rolled out. Pusha T is finally rolling out his album. He had a picture. His album cover is some snow on top of Lana Del Rey. That looks like it's
we get it. We get it, Pusha.
I don't understand. Hey, if you want to,
we understand.
We had the same topic for 100 years.
Okay, we get it
every time. I do not care. Pusha knows his lane and sticks to it better than most. And I'm thoroughly excited for what's going to be good album. Yes, that's been fun. The snippets already sound amazing. I'm looking forward to that. Saba and his follow-up to Care For Me is on the way. Very happy about that. The track list came out, I believe, today and looks very promising. He doesn't put out bad music, so I know for a fact this is going to be another one than one. So I'm looking forward to that. And then someone that me and Matt have been following a little bit, Fly Anakin of Mutant Academy, he's dropping what he calls his 5th debut.
Fifth debut.
Moving around between labels and things. He was someone who a while ago I talked to Austin about Tucumb Mutant Academy out of Virginia. Him and Big Kahuna OG and others who I'm familiar with were a collective that was very impressive in doing their thing. And Flight Anakin signed to I believe a major label called Lex Records, and now it's having another debut, I guess you can call it, with his next album that's on the way. And the singles have sounded very promising. Nicholas F., who is a legend in underground game, has a feature on there that sound really good, and others are on there that look like it's going to be a very special album as well. So looking forward to that. Some folks just got hip to Pink Seafood last year with his Gumbo tape. Before that tape, he had a collaboration with Fly Anakin on Fly Seafood, which is a great project.
I got it on the wall. Let's see. Oh,
you got it there. Hold on. I'll grab mine. So
there it is.
I'll grab mine. I got mine right here also.
Ready.
Definitely fan of dude. I met him a while ago also. So real cool dude. I'm looking forward to his next project. So on the, I don't want to call it the conscious side, but if you like bars like that, he definitely delivers them. I'm looking forward to what's on the way. So on that side, that's fun things. And on the flip side, if you like more of the new sounding things, Yee is a guy that's rising on that side. I know it's a funny name to some, but I enjoy all his music. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not familiar.
Say it again.
I'm not familiar.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I like Yee a lot. He has some stuff on the way. Might have a Drake feature on there. Might have a Yachty feature on there, and others. We shall see. I think he said it's coming in February, so that's gonna be a good one. Doughboy, who's alongside Future, has a project on the way, and then Babyface Ray out of Michigan, who's been a rising guy there, has a really good project that I think is about to drop. I think it's called Face. That's dropping might be this week. So looking forward to all the music that's on the way. This looks like it's gonna be a special year of music, special year of TV, as we just discussed, and very excited for it all. So good things going on, and I'm just excited for it. So any music things you want to know real quick, Matt?
Same. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely looking for Fly Anakin's one. Like, I think there's 3 singles out right now, and like one of them was produced by Madlib, my favorite producer ever. Another one's Evidence, who's been like one of my guys since I was like 12. So I'm hyped for that album. And then the other one I want to shout out, I don't know when it's coming out, but one of my favorite artists, Ivan Ave, he's got this white album up here. He is coming out with an EP soon, but the 2 singles that are out, Gear and What a Day, both great. So it's Ivan Ave. He's one of my favorites. Yeah,
good music across the board, man. This year this seems special already. Got out to a good start, and all these names I see dropping. Beyond the Pusha T's, we still have bigger names. Kendrick, we still don't know about. I know
it should come this year.
It should be
this year at some point, probably.
Yeah,
I know we're about a week away, but Matt, while you're here, have your expectations changed, or you had expectations about the Super Bowl performance that he's about to do? Like, what do you think can happen with all those people that they have supposed to be on stage together?
It's a lot of people. That's the one thing. Like, I'm just wondering, like, are we about to get just like a minute 30 of a Kendrick song and then that's it? Like, right. I mean, that might be all the time they have for like anyone. So like, what if that's the case? It's more like, what 2 verses does he go with? Because like, I mean, I'm a huge Kendrick fan, but like, I don't want to hear DNA there, man. Come on, like that's probably what he's gonna play, but. You know,
hey, that'd be dope. I'd be fine with
it. Would I mean? I'm not gonna hate it. You know, like I'm still gonna like it. It's a DNA, still a great song. But
I was gonna say some of those artists like have songs together as well too. Like they've all
like him and Mary J. If him and Mary J. Blige do that song off of Good Kid, Mad City, that would be fire.
Oh, Now or Never.
Yeah.
I highly doubt they do. That's
that's kind of a throwaway.
If you didn't have 2K, you don't know about that.
Right. That's a deep cut right there. But I wouldn't mind it. But yeah, I really don't know. As you said, like when it was Beyonce and Bruno, they had enough time to kind of do 2 kind of mini sets and collab and then do their thing together. But when it's 5 of them, it's like, all right, there's only so much time. Like I know y'all are big names and all of that, but if you can't perform your stuff, like what are we actually about to see? So yeah, I really don't know what's about to happen. Hopefully it all comes together well. And yeah, I would have wished that we got a project, a new music for Kendrick to perform here, even as great as Damn and other things he may go back to are still. So yeah, I don't know. Hoping for the best though.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good show.
It's going to be a good show, but I mean, it's like, as you mentioned, you know, like the songs that they've been collaborating, it's like, does he do Institutionalized with Snoop Dogg? Like, I don't really think that works either.
That's not
crazy.
Get the whole SoFi going.
Not that they all have songs that are like where they're all together, but there are some like classic songs where like Snoop and Dre have songs together, or like Dre and Eminem have songs together, or Dre and Kendrick have songs together. So like maybe
I was focusing on the Kendrick angle when it's more about the older guys. Like
Dre may be like more of like the nucleus of it, and like the others are all kind of his sons in a certain way. Where like they kind of play the hits off of Dre, that kind of thing.
They're just gonna have Dre like standing in the back, just like, I did this. Alec, I did all of this.
To your point though, Alec, like it is kind of his sons in a way to how you said it. Then you have Mary J there, so it's like there's all this rap, and then Mary J's there singing something in the mix. Like
you gotta cut through.
I don't know how this breaks out, but they will find a way. They're all superstar level talents and all of that, and they will surely put on a good show one way or another. So looking forward to it all.
What I'm looking forward to is if I'm watching the Super Bowl with my parents, I will finally have the opposite. Like it won't be me having to listen to Tom Petty like and them just being like, hell yeah. It'll be like, I know this song.
I remember that one year it was like The Who or something. I was so mad. I was like, I've never heard of this band in my life.
You don't know Pinball Wizard, Alec? Come on. I'm the blind man that plays pinball.
Why are they subjecting me to this right now? But they've done a better job like selecting the
they have
performers the last few years.
Yeah.
Like that J-Lo and who was it? J-Lo and
that's all.
Shakira?
Justin Timberlake.
I didn't. Shakira. Oh yes.
Special.
Shakira.
That was
that one was good. Yeah. The Weeknd was kind of mid. I didn't like Justin Timberlake either, but
yeah.
So yeah, I guess on that topic to close out, we mentioned we had a whole NFL podcast, of course, that we just discussed about, but on here while we're talking about it, just to reiterate our NFL Super Bowl picks. After this championship round, I got Chiefs, I guess, and the Rams.
I guess.
Alec, who you got?
I guess it's Chiefs Niners.
And then Matt, you got.
I went Bengals Niners.
Yeah,
sticking with the underdog.
I didn't realize that Chiefs Niners is the Super Bowl from 2 years ago too.
Right. Yeah. Bringing it back. So we'll see how that plays out. But looking forward to the NFL things going on as we discussed for that whole episode there. Looking forward to all the NBA things going down. All-Star weekends right after that also. So we'll surely talk about all of that as well. And we got guests that are going to be coming on to talk about the things going on there with it. So looking forward to all of that as well. Thank you, Matt, for joining us for both episodes and sticking around for both parts.
Thanks for not making me follow up your next guests.
You set the stage real well. And we'll have you on a whole lot more as well. So that's
for
it
sure.
for today. Again, follow us across all platforms: IG and TikTok at section.300, Twitter at section300sports. Follow me, your host G, at Just Say G Online. Follow Alec at Lakers Fan 24, and Matt, you see his there at Marcus Smarts as well. Follow us all over. Definitely love to talk to you guys about all things we discussed on both parts of this latest episode. And we'll see all you guys very soon. Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh yeah, like, rate, subscribe, all that for us on YouTube and subscribe on our podcast streaming services and all that. And thank you guys for tuning in. And we out of here, man. RIP, Kobe, Gigi, and on all those again. Salute to them. And we'll see you guys again soon, man. Appreciate you guys. Peace.
Deuces.